in two identical sets. Why is that indicative that he's dealing with some extraordinary power? What is so surprising about having two identical sets?
Because he can't do that.
Why not?
Because he's limited.
What is so special about it? There's something extremely special, something actually impossible about it. And in fact, there weren't two identical sets.
Because it's Krishna. It's Krishna himself.
And one of the sets was Krishna. But it appeared to be two identical sets of jivas. Why is that impossible?
Because he's never seen that before.
Yes?
Each jiva is unique. And
Each jiva is unique. Each jiva is unique. You cannot have another identical jiva. You can't. Each jiva is unique. There's not anybody else like me or like you, ever. And when Brahma saw that here's each cowherd boy, each cow, again, completely identical. Now, it wasn't actually completely identical because one set are jivas and the other set are Krishnas. And we'll see in the next couple of verses how there was actually a difference. Krishna didn't replicate the jivas 100%. There was a difference. But in all apparent ways, they were completely identical. So there's only one of us. Our understanding of God is extremely personal. When we talk about how we have a personal philosophy, we have a very, very personal philosophy. You know, in this world, the fact that we're persons, that we're individual persons, and that we're all different, causes us some difficulty. We have a lot of interpersonal conflict in this world. In fact, I would say that our interpersonal conflict is high up on our list of what occupies our thoughts and what we try to solve in this world. I mean, unless you have some severe bodily or mental illness, or unless there's some very, very severe weather conditions, the main misery that we're aware of all the time is from other living entities, especially other humans. It's definitely one of the main problems that people are facing is how do I deal with my relationship with other people? And the main thing that irritates us about other people is that they're not exactly like me. They see things a little differently. I see a problem and I see this is a solution and I tell everybody else and I expect them to go, yes, and they say no. They say not only do you have the wrong solution, you haven't even correctly identified the problem. And this happens even with our closest relations, even with our children, even if we have a twin brother or sister, with our parents, with our spouse, with our roommate in the brahmacharya ashram. And there's differences. We see things differently. We understand things differently. And in material consciousness, this is a great source of problem for us. We'll say something, someone else doesn't understand what we mean. It just happened to me yesterday. Somebody wrote me a letter. What do I do with the papers? I said, you can do with them whatever you want. And the person didn't understand the word them. They thought the word them, instead of referring to papers, referred to books. She read, so nice to see the new altar. Then they wrote me back a message, I don't understand. Why do you want me to take care of the books? No, I didn't mean the books. I meant the papers. Doesn't this kind of thing happen almost daily? Almost daily. I say something, to me it's crystal clear, and to the other person, it's not clear at all. And it works the other way too. Somebody says something to me, I misunderstand it, I take action, and then they said, no, that's not what I meant. So we often think that this personality, it's really a problem. It's individuality. If we could all just be one. When we talk about harmony, oneness, universal oneness and universal harmony, where everybody gets along. And often people think that that means that everybody would have the same opinion. And when people talk about the absolute truth, we use that term, right? Param Sattva. Supreme truth. Prabhupada translates as the absolute truth. It's absolutely true. We think of the absolute truth as something about which, first of all, I think it's something, not someone, but something about which, not about whom, everybody will agree. That if everyone could see, could experience the absolute truth, everybody would walk away with exactly the same impressions. And that the whole problem is, again, we're not all seeing the absolute truth. Once people become religious, they often get this sort of mentality. If I could just get everybody to understand the absolute truth exactly the way I do, then there would be no problems in the world. We often think like that. So it says here in Prabhupada explained this morning, he said if you're very, very sick and you're lying in bed on your left side, you might think, if I lie in bed on my right side, I'll feel better. But you're only going to feel better when you're healthy. So often we think that because this concept of difference and individuality in this world is such a source of problem. Actually, that's not the source of the problem. But we think that that's the source of the problem. We therefore talk about something spiritual, it must have no individuality. And even though in the Hare Krishna movement, we're constantly preaching that we're all individuals, and we're constantly preaching that God is a person, there's still a strong tendency to think that everything would be nice if everybody could just agree about everything all the time. And if everybody saw everything exactly the same way. So one devotee, Trey Rishi, wrote to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, there's differences of opinion in the temple due to impersonalism. Prabhupada said, no, this is due to personalism. Whenever there's persons, there must be differences of opinion. Said, of course, there shouldn't be difference as far as the process is concerned. In other words, if one person says, you can offer eggs to the deities, that's something else. Prabhupada says we should understand every verse from many, many, many angles of vision. Well, that means there are many angles of vision, and it means that you're going to see one angle of vision, and you're going to see another, and you're going to see another, and you're going to see another. When this pastime starts, Krishna's in the middle of the cowherd boys. And do you remember what each cowherd boy was experiencing? What was each cowherd boy experiencing as Krishna was sitting in the center? You already read these verses. Yes?
It's like in the Rasa dance that each one was having a direct reciprocal relationship.
Yes, each one felt Krishna's, they actually experienced that Krishna was turned towards them, not only looking at them, but that his whole body was facing them. And that was true even for the people who ostensibly would be behind Krishna. And there's millions of cowherd boys. Prabhupada says there are many, many. There's a lot of cowherd boys. And Sanatana Goswami says in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, each cowherd boy thinks, I'm Krishna's favorite. And he says, and he is. Which is, how do you do that?
Super friend.
The super friend, yes, that's Krishna, the super friend. But each cowherd boy has a little different relationship with Krishna. Hey, they have a little different relationship with Krishna. Just like even in this world, Rajani Thayer is a temple president, and everyone here has a little bit different relationship with him than somebody else has. And all the people we know, we don't have exactly the same relationship with each one of them. If you have two brothers, two sisters, or if you have more than one brother or sister, you have a little different relationship with each one of them. A little different relationship with your mother than you do with your father. With your auntie than you do with your mother. If you have more than one child, you have a little different relationship with each of your children. With each of your friends.